Armenia is known for its strength in chess, with plenty of strong grandmasters, led by the legendary grandmaster Levin Aronian. Chess is one of the most popular sports in the country, which explains why there are so many talented players there. In 2014, the legendary Magnus Carlsen visited Armenia during a particularly happy period in his career, having beaten Vishy Anand the previous year to win the title of the new world chess champion. While on tour, an amateur chess player challenged Carlsen to a quick blitz game. Though Carlsen is used to playing against opponents of varying levels, he usually emerges victorious. Confident in his abilities, Carlsen decided to give himself only 30 seconds and his opponents 3 minutes. Would this be an easy win for Carlsen, or would the Armenian player surprise him with the talent of his people? Magnus began the game with the move pawn to e4, to which his opponent responded by playing pawn to e5, sharing control of the center with the world champion. Magnus then played knight to f3, followed by bishop to b5, opting for the Ruy Lopez opening. The Armenian player responded with knight g to e7, supporting the other knight on c6. Carlsen continued with the move c3, preparing for the move pawn to d4, which would further increase pressure on the center. The player with the black pieces attacked Magnus' bishop with the move pawn to a6, and in response, Magnus moved the bishop to a4 to escape the attack. Despite the limited time control, Magnus seemed confident and in control of the game. However, his opponent showed signs of hesitation and made his first inaccurate move by playing pawn to h6. This move allowed Magnus to gain full control of the center by playing d4. The game progressed with some development moves and exchanges until both players castled their kings. At this point, it became apparent that the white forces had a much stronger position due to their complete control of the center and the activity of their pieces. Magnus made a strategic move by retreating his bishop to c2, redirecting it towards the black side of the board. Black responded with the move d6, to which white replied by advancing the d-pawn to d5, attacking the knight. After the black knight moved, Magnus played his knight to the strong square d4, preparing for the move f4, which would be followed by a very strong attack on the king's side. After Magnus played his pawn to f4, Black responded with the inaccurate move bishop to g4. The game continued with both sides making maneuvers, and then Magnus played the move h3, indicating the trapping of one of Black's pieces, the light squared bishop. Because when the bishop tried to escape to h5, Magnus played his g-pawn to g4, attacking the bishop once again. The Armenian player made a desperate decision to sacrifice the trapped bishop in exchange for 2 pawns. Magnus now has a winning position, but given the time pressure and the poor position of his white king, the game remains quite dangerous and requires careful play from world champion. Magnus made a good move by playing pawn to f6, creating space for his knight to move to the strong f5 square. Black responded by playing queen to e5, threatening queen to h7 checkmate. Magnus countered by playing bishop to f4, attacking the queen. Black moved the queen to an h5 square. Although the presence of the black queen and knight so close to the white king seemed extremely dangerous, Magnus appeared to have a plan to neutralize these threats. Magnus fearlessly captured the pawn on g7, and in response, his opponent escaped with their rook to e8. Magnus then played his queen to g3 to add more security to his king. His opponent made a good move by playing their knight to d6, attacking the pawn on e4 and bringing more forces closer to the white king. Despite Magnus being confident and in control so far, the extreme time pressure seemed to have affected the world champion. Unfortunately, Magnus played a bad move with his knight to f5, leaving the e4 pawn unprotected, whereas he should have played the move rook to e1 or queen to g2 to protect it. The Armenian player happily captured the e4 pawn with his knight, and suddenly, the world champion played a disastrous move. Queen takes knight on g4, a blunder. Magnus intended to make a fancy queen fork by taking the pawn on h6 with his knight, but the problem is that after this bad move, Black would simply take with his queen and give a check to the white king. Realizing his mistake, Magnus found that there was nothing he could do, so he lost his queen and decided to resign with signs of complete dissatisfaction on his face.